And yes, from the safety of Indians abroad, we move into a completely different kind of American debate. Debate over who should be allowed to vote and what role should identification play in elections. Well, America's voter ID debate has been running for years now. And now, the US President, Mr. Donald Trump, is using India as part of that argument. Mr. Trump has pointed to India's election system and voter identification requirements while pushing support for Safe America Act, legislation aimed at tightening voter registration rule, and that too in federal election. Mr. Trump, well, he has highlighted India's massive 2024 election and emphasized that voters use official identity documents. Well, the political message absolutely clear. If India can require identification, why should not America do the same? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Trump's administration has argued that proof of citizenship and identification, it should be required for federal voters' registration. Well, the proposed legislation also seeks limit on voting by mail, with exceptions under certain circumstances, and would put greater emphasis on removing non-citizen from the voter roll. In the meantime, the supporters, they say that this would strengthen election integrity. But critics argue that the issue is more complicated than simply comparing one country's election system with another's. And that distinction, that matters. Because India and the US has very different election structure. Let's be very honest here. Different federal system, different voter registration rule, different constitutional framework. So when Mr. Trump says, look at India, he's not simply talking about elections. He's making a political argument about how American elections should work. The Indian ambassador to the US, according to the report, has also supported Mr. Trump's comparison and pointed to India's voter ID system. But whether the Save American Act, it actually passes, that is a separate question. Support exists, opposition exists, and Congress, that remains divided. So the real story is not simply America wants Indian-style voter ID. The real story is that India has become a talking point in one of America's biggest domestic political debates. And that is remarkable because American politicians, they are now looking at the world's largest democracy and they are saying, what can we learn from India? But yes, while lawmakers debate the rules for voting, federal investigators, they are cracking down on another kind of alleged fraud. Marriages created on paper just for immigration benefit.